Okay, so this is going to be very similar to what we did on the create orders as far as the units of measure, but this is going to be on the receipts. So if we come to receipts and we do link, first thing I want to, so it's going to do add line item. Okay, so this is going to be exactly how we were doing the other ones before. If we take a look at the return, you see you have something like this. So if there's a secondary unit of measure, then you're going to, on selection, you're going to have to create another input field. And we'll go ahead and name these same labels as from the other task. So primary quantity and secondary quantity. And then the eaches, or whatever the unit of measure, will show up on those labels, just like on the other task. So in this case, each and carton. And both these, the primary and the secondary quantity, will both be in red until one of them is filled out. If they only enter in one value, you'll still have to save both values. And then that little number and it being integral works the same, right? So if they do a number and it's integral, you should put up in the top basically what the calculation is, rounded up to the nearest whole unit. And then of course you'll use that number if they don't override it with anything. So it's basically exactly the same as the other section. One thing that you will have to kind of keep track of is we add those, so we need to update this grid to be just like the other grid where it has the primary quantity and the unit of measure, secondary quantity and unit of measure. So you'll have to take a look at that, and then when you save, you'll need to make sure that when we take a look at the receive items that we have the correct things filled out. Quantity would be the primary quantity. So right now this goes into the grid a little bit different, but this is how we need to send it over. So you can see, even though we added something in here and we add 10, oh, there we go. It has 10 in there. And we go there and I don't think we can save right now. Here, let's go back over here real quickly. It's kind of hard with the debugger open at the same time. So this shows in here, but once we save, you see that disappears. And the reason is what we're sending over now has receive items, the grid. See, we had quantity, right, as 5. That's what we sent over. However, the grid elements has changed, and if we check a look at the response, we see now that the receive items now has quantity, QTY, instead of QUANTITI. So when we add this down into this grid, we're going to have to add it down in this way, so we have QTY, that will be the primary quantity. secondary quantity will be that. Secondary units, that would be the secondary units, and the primary units is correct there. But we'll need to make a column in each one of these. So we have primary, so basically exactly the same as we see in the find orders or the create orders, how that column looks. But we'll need to make sure that the name in the grid matches this model, where you have quantity, primary units, secondary quantity, and secondary units. If you add it into the grid in this way when you save it, then it should work just fine. And of course, if we come over here, you know, this you can see it kind of like that. You see how we have those fields in there. So, yep, that is it.